Okay, so I will keep it fast and painless. I called us together. Everyone can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I'm switching screens on my thing, so I have the video of everybody off right now, and that's when it messed up before. So anyways, I called us back because a bunch of stuff's been going on, and I've been working on a bunch of things, and some things have changed, and I'm going to be doing a presentation with town council next week, and I wanted to just get in touch with everybody ahead of time, and I sent out a lot of email. I assume everyone got my emails.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, there's a
Yep.
lot of stuff going on. So I called another meeting because I thought it was appropriate. I definitely wanted to communicate, or at least attempt to, with everybody before town council. So I'll try to go through this super fast. And normally we do previous meeting minutes. I don't think those are out, which is no big deal.
They are not.
Because you haven't had a lot of time. Like I said, this is another meeting faster than we usually do. So we'll skip over that. What do you call it? The first item is the rear door project update, and so there's a couple things there. And if you looked at the materials list I sent out, I can put it up on the screen if you think we need to. I think morally that I don't really think I need to, unless you think I need to. So does anybody have any feedback on the materials, the second materials list that I sent out from Mike?
Yeah, I was able to see the big round lights with the butterflies hanging around the ceiling. That one I could open, but the other one I could not open, so I did not see it. Okay. And then when it came to the tiles, I kind of liked the doll tile, the mixed stone look, just because I think it probably would hide a little bit of dirt sins, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Doug?
I did not get as much time to look at it, but I was just kind of looking now. So you like the bold colors, the color body portion?
No, it was Dignitary is the name of the tab, and it's a stone. That there are three. I think there were three. There was Theoretical Bold, there was Neo-Concrete, and there was Dignitary. And Dignitary was the one that I liked the best.
Oh yeah, there it is.
And Chris, you're talking about in the back hallway, right? This is between the gallery space and the doorway leading outside. This is between the two doors, between the gallery and the outside door.
Yeah, that's where that stuff is.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a small area to tile. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I'm really not a fan of that Dignitary.
Okay, that's all right. Whatever.
It just, I know it's supposed to be that weave pattern look, but when you kind of just look at it, it looks like the tiles don't line up, and somebody the wrong size tiles.
Okay.
But that's me. That's just me. But then again, it's such a small area. I don't know if it, it doesn't really matter too much, but that just looks.
And you know what? And you've got a good point that it really doesn't matter too much. I was just trying to go for something that would be a high traffic area, and if it gets dirty, who's really cleaning it? So.
Yeah, and I like the stone look of it. I just don't really like that pattern. But that's just me.
Well,
what did you think, Chris?
If anybody has any super strong feelings on that, really is get it out there. I don't have any super strong feelings on that. It's a small area. But what I would say is I'm going to talk with Mike at the beginning of next week. So spend some time with it. And if you have super strong opinions or you want to send me input, let me know, and I'll talk to him, and we'll get it in there, and we'll see where we're at. This was just the second in the equipment, in the materials eval. And we sort of decided that we're going to kind of let him go with it to a degree. And it's not the end of the world, because they will be basically just cost allocations for the project. So we'll write it in, and everything's still a little bit, it's not like, oh my God, if we don't do it tonight. I just thought it was important to share that info with people. So in case there's strong opinions, but you've got time. I don't think there's big cost differences. I'm gonna just kind of let him keep going and talk to him about that. And then we will review it again. I put it on tonight because that message had come to me. And so I definitely wanted to share it, but I want to keep this meeting going fast. So I'm gonna just move on from that. And what do you call it? So we're sitting here, we're on item number 2, which is the rear door project update. The materials review for the bid package. Again, review the stuff that we have there and send me any feedback digitally or call me. And it's not a tragedy if we mess something up tonight. It just it really was just for exposure to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to give input. A second part to what Mike said to me was he asked me about signage on the rear, and he said, I don't know if I sent this one off to everybody. I think I did, but in case I didn't.
I think you did.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, so he wanted to know what the signage would be. I'm going to defer on that one for now because I don't know what the permission requirements are, considering we have this permission on the other side. And so I'm going to defer on that unless somebody doesn't want me to defer on that and just say that we're not going to include anything on there for right now, because it's more important to get the package together than to fuddle about that detail. And then we'll figure it out later. We can, just like we're doing the front sign, if we decide we need to do something special there, we can handle it at a later date, but it's not critical. It's not a critical path item. Agreed?
Yeah.
Okay. So then that being said, let's see here. The other part of what he had was the windows in the back. He basically wants to know if we want them clear, like foggy, or colored and foggy. I believe it was replace the windows with new windows that match the existing color and style. Replace the windows with translucent picture windows that let light in, but don't provide a view out. We could use colored glass or apply a color film to the glass to make it more interesting, or remove the windows and block up the opening. I'm a believer in light, and where I stand on this is that we should do the blurry windows with probably some colored stuff on top. Does anybody?
So is he talking about? I'm actually looking at your presentation to town council, because on one of the tabs, one of the pages towards the end, there's a rendering, an artist rendering of the outside of the back outside of the building. So he's showing 2 windows to the left of the door. Is that where he's speaking of when he's talking about the windows?
Yes.
That, or maybe even around the corner. Okay.
Yeah, there's actually 3 of them. When you come, let's say you were in the gallery and you were walking out the rear entrance, you'd get into that back foyer, and there's 2 that face the bank, and then there's 1 that faces the alley. What might make sense and is to do 2 out of the 3, do the 2 that could bring light in, and maybe block up the 3rd. I could debate with him. I don't know if anyone has any strong opinions. My general opinion is, okay, we can replace those windows. If we needed to really save money, we could, probably not do it, but eventually they need to be done. So this might be a good time to do it. I don't think that we should block them up and get rid of the windows, but I don't think we need to be able to see through them, because I think that their value is the light that they bring through. But again, we can do whatever we want. We could block them all up. I
don't think so.
Yeah.
I'd rather have, plus it, makes it visually a little bit more interesting. You're right, let some light in. And then we've also talked about the fact that we're probably not getting rid of that space, right? So, you might as well make it look nice. We're building this back entrance. People are going to be coming in. So, yep.
So I'm for
I would agree.
The diffuse windows, and we can figure out if we're going to put a film to make it funky and make it have colors or something to that effect.
Yeah, I agree. Keep the windows, but they don't need to be see-through.
Okay. So continuing on with the rear entryway. Today I met with Santander Bank and the branch manager, our neighbors, and spoke to them just about the fact that we're doing this project to do some abutter notification. And they're really cool. The bank manager and his public relations person, They're really cool. They wondered what we were and who we were, and I brought them in and gave them a whole tour and everything. And I said,
Oh,
I'm
excellent,
sure
Chris.
you've
Good
looked
for
at
you.
us. We've looked at you through the windows. And so they were cool. And, but what they did inform me too is that they don't own the building. The building is owned, they said, by some guy that they think is in Mexico right now. And it's managed by a property management company, I believe, by the name of Tromwell. They have a lease in the building till 2025. And what do you call it? They said that the building, they believe, is currently for sale. They've looked up the listing of it, and they said that their lease is until 2025. They said their building needs a lot of work. I think they said at one point they thought, and this is just two guys that work at a bank, this isn't from any technical data, they thought it was like $4 million worth of work needs to be done at the building. But they believe that the building is for sale. They informed me that they have a lease right now that hasn't changed, and as far as they know, they have a lease till 2025. They've also told me that they put in, they've been doing some research on their own, and they saw that 500 Main Street, which is across the street from the junior high, right to the right of where Sweet Bay just moved. They said that they have seen images drawn up on there that show their office moving over there. But what they know is that the two guys that run the building, they're very receptive to. They have no issues with us, doing a door, the fact that we come across an easement and all that. But they don't own the building. They're alleged, they believe they're there till 2025, but they've heard rumors that they may be moving before that. But as far as they know, the building's for sale right now. So as far as the butter notification, what did we get out of that? Well, we've established a relationship with them. This was literally hours ago, so I'm still sort of digesting the experience. And then I followed up with email, and I got an email to the property management company, which is not the owner, it's another intermediary. There's some satisfaction in that we have made our neighbors aware, and they didn't seem alarmed in any degree. They do not have the ability to make any decisions at all, though. But they told me that, the building's for sale, they believe. They believe they're there till 2025 under their current lease terms, and that they're fine with everything that we're doing. And that was really about it. I mean, we started with the, that was just part of our abutter notification, process. So we're down the road with that a little bit. I'm going to talk to DPW a little bit more about that, maybe town council. But, we're making an effort to do all the right things, dot all the I's, cross all the T's. And that comes under item number 2, which is the rear project door update, materials review for bid package and abutters. So that's my statement about the abutters. Does anybody have any questions about that? And hey, Tony. Can you see us, Tony?
He's on
Okay,
mute.
cool. All right. Just didn't
What-
want you to think I didn't say hi.
So my concern would be that since the bank doesn't own the property, that any feeling that they have about any work that we're going to do doesn't really mean anything because they're not the ones that we need to talk with.
Agreed. What we do know is that we have an access easement that allows us to go across, and that's not likely to change. If the building were to get sold, the bank owns the building plus the parking lot. If the building were to get sold, based on the real estate documents that are available, that we likely will run by town council another time as we get this together, that our access to that doorway is to be available. As far as doing anything like hardscaping or stuff like that, that gets trickier because if the building's for sale and the bank's not doing it, and I really just need to kind of think about it a little bit more and speak some more with people at the town, speak some more with DPW, speak some more with town council, and just let them know that this is what we know. These are potential things. I think the idea that they have a lease till 2025 and that none of these other things, like the guy, they said that they saw, they don't know anything. They said they're the last to know. They saw their building, they saw their bank branch moving to another building, but that's just all in drawings that somebody made up. That there's really no substance there. So I mean, I think we have some degree of clarity, but we do need to do a little bit more research. And I just say that we started it and we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly would make sense that they would, if they are moving in 2025, then they need to start planning now of where they're going to move to. So,
Right. But the guy today, when I talked to him, he said, he goes, it wouldn't be uncommon for us to all of a sudden just get 30 to 60 days notice and being told that we're moving down the street because really, their staff doesn't actually do anything. I mean, they do banking, they
Right,
wouldn't
right.
be moving
Yep,
stuff.
yep.
They would just be
Yeah,
told.
there's another department that handles moves and things like that. Yeah, Chris, the one thing that I'm wondering, this is a town-owned building, and as you've just talked about, conversing with the DPW and town council and noodling on this, probably a good thing to reach out to someone in town from, I don't know, a legal perspective.
Mhm.
I don't know what group there would be for that, just to say, reminder, hello, legal party in Wakefield, this is what we're doing, this is what we're moving forward with, and just a double check with the town that, is there anything else that we need to be doing or checking?
Yeah, and that's really what this is the starting point for was, a butter notification. Yep. We've now had conversations. We've now found out a whole bunch of new information literally today. Yeah, and so I think this is something that I'm gonna move forward as we're getting our bid package together. And before we release a bid package, I think this is something that could be discussed inside of a week or two. And our bid package probably has 4 or 5 weeks left before it's actually polished out. So, it'll be before we put ourselves on the commitment level for too much, just to make sure, hey, please review the easement. Please, we from our initial investigations and the research that we've already done, and this is why we started, we can't be bricked in because that easement is created not only for us, it's created for the building to the left of us and the building to the right that has the Joy Taylor. So it's people need, getting behind the bank, getting into our building, and then between our two buildings, way in the back there, is the access to that building on the corner. So there's 1, 2, 3. Outside of the bank, there's 3 other people that have that easement to get through. So people that like the Joy Taylor on the corner of Main and Albion, like to get to their back part, you have to go through there as well. So I guess what I'll say on that is just that's where the conversation's at now. I'm moving it forward. What do I really have on that? Does anybody else have anything else that they'd like to say on that before I move to another agenda item? Okay. Hearing none, I'm going to go to the next item, which is bathroom tile update. That's a legacy item. I don't have an update on that, but I had to get the agenda out quick, so I left it. So we're going to skip over that one. Oh, the numbering's off too. What do you know? Number 5, I guess there is no number 4. This is something that's new, future events review. So, I've spoken a lot about, trying to get something done, this concept of having a longer term event with specific designated stuffs. And I thought about it, and I know that, the Arts Collaborative, it's not in their cards right now. But, remember when we started this, I produced shows. So I've decided that I'm going to take the bull by the horns here and produce a show called New Beginnings. And I was really just trying to make up a show to create because the thing that I've been trying to, encourage other people to do, it's in my head. It's not in other people's head. So I know how to execute what I'm thinking. And so I thought about it for a while. I came up with the idea, New Beginnings, and then I started researching with some artists. And then before you know it, I had Eric Escudel on the phone. As you recall, we've done shows with him in the past. He lives on Chestnut Street. Mm-hmm. He's a photographer. I talked to John O'Brien. They did the show together a couple of years ago, and he's interested. My girlfriend, Jamie Dean, has a bunch of pieces that we can do. And then I also brought down Liza Vaughn, who's part of the Arts Collaborative. I don't know if she's an active member, but she's in town. The relationship there, aside from the fact that I'm just aware of her, she's been in the item this year for her fluid painting. The relationship there is also her son is the guy that's doing some video stuff with us that, we haven't really gotten anywhere yet, but he's got a hard drive with some of our stuff. He's at the high school, and, it's sort of a mother-daughter team. And I was like, it makes sense because we're going to hopefully continue to sort of, hang out with him and see if we come up with something. And she came down actually to the space. I had her and Eric came down in person, and I talked about this concept, and the way that it would work is that we would have, several dates and likely sign up through the website or Facebook. I haven't figured out the details on that, but it's not really scary to me. But we would follow the museum and cultural facilities guidelines in the state, which I believe right now sits at 8 people or less, including staff. So you would pre-book small groups. And as I began to think through this and the requirements of what's there, that's sort of the requirement. The contact tracing requirement isn't written into it. However, to err on the side of extreme caution, I sort of am incorporating what I learned by early voting, which was when you went into town hall, they put your hand up on this like a stick that had a thermometer on it, and you just put your hand by it and it would beep, and then they would type in your info for contact tracing. So I'm assuming, so my idea was that we would do something like that. So then as I thought through that, we haven't allocated funding for any thermometers, PPE, or anything to accommodate that. So I called up Bob, the guy from the savings bank. Let me find it here real quick, just because that's.
How about spoke with a
Anyways,
representative from Savings Bank?
All right. I called up the president of the savings bank, Bob DeBella. That's his name. I called up Bob DeBella, who I've known for several years. He took over for Brian. He was the one that helped us when we got our refrigerators and freezer. They helped us out with the funding there. I sent him some updates, and I sent him some stuff by email, and then we had about a half-hour conversation on Monday on the phone, and I told him about what we want to do. And the idea was that, this idea that I had, it'd be a 4-month-long thing. It'd be certain specific dates, groups of 8 or less. The event would be set up using our hanging system and stuff on the floor. And this is to move us to what I'm sort of starting to call like an always on operation, moving from our past, which is where we would set up and break down like a function hall, to an always on gallery. We're always set up. If all of a sudden we needed to have a meeting with somebody, the gallery would be set up on the walls type mode. And so I've got all the artists to agree to it, to participate, the people I mentioned, as well as Anne-Marie Gallivan says that she wants to participate too. So I've got plenty of artists. I told them that we want to get it set up by the end of the year so that we can select dates and figure out the details for January to about April. That's still a little bit fluid, but I told them that, they're going to bring stuff down. They can't expect to get it back. They can have it for sale, but they can't take it down until the show's over. That kind of thing. They'll sign a waiver, a damage waiver, saying that they hold us, not liable if anything happens. And then I talked to Bob DeBella, and I asked him for $500 to support this. And but that's a friendly number amongst the donation community. And so he said, yeah. And I told him it was going to be for thermometers, masks, and potentially paying staff or janitorial type stuff. And he said, okay. And then I said to him, 500 was the friendly number. I know that's a number that we could work with. And I said, but quite honestly, I don't know how much thermometers cost. I said, I don't know how much the standing thing costs or whatever. I assume we're going to cover it. And he also said, if we run into a thing and we need a little bit more money, he's in. He's totally cool with it. He's sold. So this is a new event. It meets all of our guidelines. Those are the general details. It meets all of our guidelines as far as having a committee representative. That person would be me. I would set everything up. I sent to everybody the application that I filled out, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so I'm playing by the rules with everybody else. I described it. Hopefully I mirrored what I wrote in the application here. It's January through March or April. I'd be the representative. Pre-booked. It is funded by the savings bank and sponsored. It'll be free, potentially a minor thing for registration, $5 or less. It is not a fundraiser, but it hopefully will be a fundraiser. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions for me?
So are the individual artists going to staff it?
So the staffing I'm going to figure out, and the answer is no. It's not no solid. They might. We have to figure out dates. we have to figure out times. First, I've just really gauged interest at this point. I told them that we're going to be set up by the end of the year. I told them that they can't come and go and take pictures. It's going to be, a closed event. Once it's set up, it's set up. And they will, we'll figure out the exact dates, but it's going to be either the end of March or sometime in April where they can pick their stuff back up. I told them that they can sell their stuff and have all their contact information and prices on their products, but they can't take anything out until the show's done. I'll have to make a form to that effect where they sign it along with the damage waiver saying that they hold us not responsible if something were to happen to their stuff. We're at the point now where pretty much everybody said yes. And I just need to figure out a system to tell them where they get to put their stuff up. We've got 3 walls now with the hanging system on it. So we've got plenty of space. And then I'll go in there and I'll help with the setup to just clean things up. The whole front room's a mess and we'll figure out what's going on. And, the world's a mess. And then right now, if you watch the news, everyone's in a panic again. That could be different next week and the week after. We're going to go under the assumption that the country's not going to get shut down moving forward to set this up, but we will follow the museum and cultural facilities guidelines by the state of Massachusetts. So if the state of Massachusetts says that we have to close, we close. But right now we are open under similar rules as like the Museum of Science, the New England Aquarium, places like that. The good news, it's different than when we were talking about doing stuff in the spring, is that these things are all fairly clearly defined now. So if for some reason we roll back a phase, it's all been defined. So if for some reason things change, we fall under, those guidelines and we will abide by them. But let's just hope and pray that we don't roll back and that we can do this in a pre-booked basis with the extra safety precautions that the kind people at the Savings Bank have agreed to fund. So it meets our guidelines. I mean, I guess we can take a vote on it. It meets our guidelines. It's not money. There's no, just as long as nobody has an objection, moral or otherwise, I'm going to just say, hey, I'm okay with it. Obviously, I'm sponsoring it. Does anybody have any objections?
No objections.
No objection.
I'll come help with the cleanup. Chris, I'll come help you with the clean out too and that, because I'm always trying to clean that place up. So if you do it on a weekend, I'm happy to come help or,
Awesome.
After work. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yep.
I mean, really, it's just, and that was another reason that I called this meeting is because one of the items that we're going to talk about in a minute, I'm going to the town council on Tuesday. And so one of the things that I'm going to tell them is that, and our process is that everyone fills out an application, just like I did. It gets reviewed by the committee, within 30 days, which it's doing right now. And that nobody has any objections and it has a sponsor and I got an underwriter. So I'm pretty confident that aside from the world, from the rules changing at the government, we've got all our bases covered.
Yep. Makes sense.
Yep. We'll move on from there. All right. So then the next item, that was 5, no item number 4, 5, future events. Number 6, the front projection sign, town council meeting presentation. So I went through and I also sent out, and I believe everybody got it, and tell me if you didn't, did you get the recommendation letter from the Zoning Board of Appeals?
Oh,
No?
I don't know. When did you send it?
I sent out so many things, I don't really know. I'm assuming it was in the barrage of stuff I sent in the last 3 days. It's not super important that we pull it up and look at it, although we could, and I'll send it to everybody after this meeting. But basically what happened was, and I guess, this has happened, I think, since we last met. I met with the design review board who reviewed our sign stuff and they ripped it apart. And they went through and verified the legality and the non-legality of it type situation. So what they do is they went through and they analyzed our sign versus the code. And so they write 2 letters. One is like an anti-recommendation and the other one's the actual recommendation. The first letter is the why we don't comply and why we need a special permit. I believe the language is a special permit. It might be special permit / variance. But it's all in the documentation. So the first letter is why we need a special permit, which is the reasons that we don't meet the requirements of the law. The second letter is the fact that they analyzed everything and they determined that our design was okay because it was in the proper scale of the building. So things like that we reviewed last time, like the sign's going to be 13 square feet, but the law says that we can only be 9 square feet. They recommended that that be allowed because it's in scale with the building, and otherwise it would look weird and undersized. The law says like that the sign has to be at like 14 feet or something, and our sign's at 17 feet. And they went through and they basically, all the reasons why we shouldn't get a permit, they went through and gave a recommendation that we should, and they provided a reason for every single discrepancy. So what you do is you go to this meeting and they figure this all out, and then they give you these 2 letters, the why you fail and the why you should pass. So we have a recommendation letter from the design review board, which goes to the zoning board of appeals. And that basically speeds up that process. So when you go to the zoning board of appeals, they review it and they already have all the legalities in front of them, as well as the recommendation from the other folks to provide our special permit to get us permission. Now, prior to that, I talked to Steve Mayo as we were scheduling this. I thought we were going straight to the ZBA. We're going to actually go by town council on the way and just let them know about all this stuff. Hey, here's what's going on. Everything we just talked about, the fact that we reviewed the sign, our team has approved the sign. The design review committee has given us a recommendation for the sign with the specs that we've had. It's been thoroughly vetted, and it goes to zoning next. But before it goes to zoning, we're going to bring it by the town council so that they know what's going on. In likelihood, they're going to be, ecstatic. We would hope that, we've got a lot going on and that we've really, vetted this out. So next Monday, I'm going to town council, and I'd like to bring some people with me. And I'll talk to you guys. I can call you or text you offline of the meeting to see if anybody's available to just, be there to answer questions or maybe do part of the presentation. I don't expect it to be too long or too painful. I spent some time redoing our presentation that went earlier in the year in May, and I basically updated that. So some things have gone by and aren't important to that presentation anymore, and new things have come up, like the ZBA hearing, like the rear entrance stuff, like the fact that we worked with the Envision team to talk about stuff in the front, and our timelines have changed. So if you saw the document that I sent you, it just basically, it's an update. I re-review everything from the logo moving forward, and then I go in and I create a new timeline that starts in December and goes through May. And it just talks about what's going to happen. We're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this. It also includes the fact that we're going to have this this new show, assuming that nothing bad happens with rollbacks with COVID and stuff like that. Has everyone seen the presentation?
Yes.
We could go over it, but I'm trying to go fast tonight because we've already gone over that presentation a bunch. It does have new information. Do you feel as if we need to put it on the screen and go over it slide by slide? Okay.
I do not.
No.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments, questions, or anything they think I should change?
I don't think so. I thought it
No,
looked good.
it's a great snapshot, and it's reflective of recent activities. I like the Wakefield arts, the last little, the painting that's on the last page. That's great. I like having that in there. Thank you. No, I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah, the good thing about that, like I said, is it's an update to a slide that I spent a lot of time on at the beginning of the year. So, I spent 3 hours on it, I think, or maybe 4 hours. I've updated it since the one that you got, but really just for punctuation. I tend to have this thing where I end up capitalizing a bunch of words that don't need it. So I went and I fixed that. I do it. For some reason, I capitalize all these random things, and I don't know. It's like, I don't know, brain to fingers, something happens. So I went through and I fixed all that. I put in a few periods. I did change the little spacing, but substantively, it's 97% of what it was before with just a few changes. So I actually gave that presentation, I sent it to the bank before I called them back. I sent them an email and just told them what I was thinking and, asked them for a phone call. They said, yes, give us a call. And so then I sent them that presentation and said, take a look at this. It's a 3-minute read. and I'll call you in 20 minutes. And I called him in 20 minutes, and 20 minutes later I had the money. And I asked him what he thought. I said, I have a 2-page version of this that's text, or I have this. And he said, no, this was easy to read. And he thought it was good because I told him it was going to town council. And he said that he thought it would be an effective presentation tool. So that's good.
Yep.
Great feedback. Yeah.
Yeah, so test it out, and he did that. So
Very
Yeah, so-
consumable, Chris.
what's that?
It's very consumable.
Right. So that's a good thing.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll move on from that. And like I said, I'll touch base with everybody individually, like by text, not really on a Zoom meeting about, if anyone's going to be around, if they can come in and just go in there. And I don't know, how much talking we're going to need or whatnot, but I just want to show that, the team, is all on board on this.
Yeah, Chris,
So-
I know I'm not available that night. So just heads up. Sorry.
Okay.
I might go with you because I have to go in front of them for my fence, so I'll probably go.
Okay.
Let me know what time it is.
All right. So let's see. So front projection sign, that's number 6. Number 7, just nonprofit idea, Friends of Ace establishment, their funding ideas. That one I followed up with Jonathan and Dan about, they had some ADA funding ideas. Nobody really has anything of substance yet. I just sent out a note to, ask them to keep looking into it. So we'll get to that. Not on here, but something I want to mention is that I talked to Anne-Marie Gallivan as well as Tracy Shea. If anybody knows her, she's another local Wakefield person. And I talked to them about joining our committee next year. And Anne-Marie and Tracy Shea have both said that they're interested. Anne-Marie has sent me her resume and stuff. This doesn't happen for a couple months. The renewals happen in April for people. I have to send in my renewal. It's like a staggered thing. I can't remember who else is on the list. There's one or two. There's me and like one other person that's currently on the committee that has to send in the updated info. But I just talked to them about, if they would be interested, and both of them over the course of a couple of days said that they're interested. I already have Anne-Marie's resume. So when it comes around for the committee to have, some new pollination in April, we expect Anne-Marie Gallivan to be appointed, and we expect Tracy Shea to be appointed to our committee at that point. And I don't see any anticipated or reasonable reason why that wouldn't happen. And so that was not on the agenda, something I just remembered. I'll put it on and mention it again next time. And that's it. That's it. Does anybody have anything that we didn't cover that they're interested in talking about? Again, I'm sorry to call another meeting so quickly, but the fact that I've talked to the abutters, the fact that I got money from the savings bank, the fact that I got 2 new members for next year, and the fact that I'm going to town council, those 4 things there really made me feel compelled to at least give people the opportunity to get online and talk about it before I present to town council.
I went down to City Hall, talked to Will Renault, and he showed me the street plan, and we're not getting a kick out in front of the building.
I know.
Yeah.
We can talk about that. We talked about that at length last meeting. What
Yeah.
happened was the project's been changed, Tony.
Yeah, I saw the
What
plan.
happened was we talked to them during the due diligence process about stuff in front of the building and things that we needed commitments for, and they were unable to give them to us. And so we have gone back towards the rear door, and they actually changed it to, instead of starting at Main Street, it now starts at Foster Street, and we're now in phase 2. I was not super happy about that, but I understood why. So nobody ever likes to wait, but they we are aware of that. for
Yeah,
sure.
they want the kick out right where the crosswalk's going to be. It's going to be at the corner of Foster. They showed me where it's going to go. The other one's going to be in front of Barrett. So, but they got to do it quick. So they around.
Right. So they have that. I don't have anything else. Anybody else have anything else that they want to talk about? All right, hearing
Happy
none. I'm gonna-
Thanksgiving and be safe.
Happy
Happy
Thanksgiving. Everyone be
holidays
safe.
to everyone.
Call me with any questions on materials. Call me with any questions on anything. That's it.
Awesome, guys. Have a great night.
Good night.
Thank you.
All
Hey,
right,
Chris,
thank
thank
you.
you very much.
No
Bye,
worries.
everyone.
We
Bye-bye.
are
Later.
adjourned.